Executive thesis, same defensive philosophy, different winner. Both defenses played almost the same macro coverage identity. The Rams were at roughly 15% man and about 80% zone, and the Seahawks were basically identical at roughly 15% man and about 81% zone. That means this game was not decided by one team played man and the other played zone. It was decided by who solved zone rules better and who could keep the quarterback functional long enough to exploit those rules. Los Angeles won because it owned the middle of the field, specifically the transition space behind linebackers and in front of safeties, and it did so with timing rather than raw separation. Seattle lost because it could not hold together the defensive spine, linebacker, and safety overlap, especially on intermediate throws, and particularly on plays where the quarterback held the ball longer than 2.5 seconds. Meanwhile, on the other side, the Rams' defense compressed Seattle's quarterback platform and forced the Seahawks into low-leverage completions, red zone failure, and turnovers. The final scoreboard is the summary. Los Angeles 0 turnovers, Seattle 3 turnovers, and those 3 Seattle giveaways included the drive-deleting goal line touchback fumble and the red zone interception at the 1-yard line. Part I, game flow. Structure beats chaos. Seattle's biggest defensive moments were isolated chaos events. A 55-yard touchdown run by Kenneth Walker III, a 46-yard running back reception that functioned like a broken coverage or mismatch leak, short field/goal to go finishing when the field was already compressed. Los Angeles scoring was structure, sustained drives and sequencing, repeated deep middle explosives, Puka Nacua and Xavier Smith, red zone concepts designed to win against compression tight end leak and leverage throws. The reason this matters is fundamental. Chaos plays are high variance and cannot be relied on to repeat. Structured explosives, built on root families that consistently stress zone rules, are low variance in the sense that you can keep calling them until the defense proves it can stop them. Los Angeles forced the game into structure. Seattle needed chaos to keep up. Part 2. Rams offense. How Los Angeles created explosives without elite separation. This is the most important paradox your data solves. Puka Nacua's average separation in that earlier snapshot was below league average, yet he produced elite output. That's because Los Angeles did not win with open grass. It won with leverage and timing. One intermediate is the kill zone, and Stafford owned it. When you isolate intermediate throws 10, 19 air yards, Matthew Stafford's completion rate was not the headline. His expected points added was Stafford plus 11. Expected points added on intermediate attempts plus 1. 0.2 per attempt with about 3.00 seconds time to throw. Darnold plus 4. 9 expected points added plus 0. 62 per attempt with about 3.16 seconds time to throw. Even when Darnold was fine, Stafford was devastating because Stafford's intermediate completions were high leverage field tilting, drive tilting, not short maintenance gains. 2. The single most telling split you posted, intermediate plus quick. Your combined split, intermediate throws released in under 2.5 seconds, is the game in one table. Stafford, plus 14. 0 expected points added plus 0. 61 per attempt. Darnold, 12.3 expected points added, 0.65 per attempt. This is the purest definition of anticipation quarterback vs quarterback's vis confirmation quarterback. Stafford's quick intermediate throws were first window leverage shots into zone conflict. Darnold's quick intermediate throws were completions that did not change leverage, often into allowed space, leading to stalled drives and negative expected value. 3 intermediate plus long to Rams deep over seam family. On intermediate throws released after 2.5 seconds. Stafford, plus 19. 8 expected points added plus 0. 53 per attempt with a touchdown rate around 16%. Darnold, essentially neutral plus 0 to Zico total. Plus 0 to 0.2 per attempt with no explosive payoff. This is where the Rams' root families, deep overs, seams, and breakers fully develop, and where Seattle's zone handoffs failed over time. Stafford waited with purpose and then threw into the first leverage window. Darnold waited for clarity and rarely received leverage payoff. Part the 3rd. Seattle defense. Why zone rate didn't save them. Seattle's zone rate is elite and stable, but zone only works if the overlap rules hold. Your alignment splits prove that the overlap rules broke at the spine. One linebacker alignment, the game's most damaging mismatch. Your linebacker alignment defensive split is the smoking gun. Ernest Jones, linebacker, targeted 5 times, allowed 4 completions for 108 yards, passer rating against 158.3, and +7. 8 expected points added allowed. That is the defensive spine failing under stress. In a zone-heavy defense, the linebacker's job is to carry vertical threats long enough for safeties to overlap. Los Angeles repeatedly forced him to hesitate, then attacked behind him. 2 slot alignment. Los Angeles forced non-nickel defenders into slot stress. In slot alignment responsibility, the presence of linebackers and hybrid safeties as nearest defenders and the explosives against them tells you Los Angeles was not just throwing short option routes. It was using the slot to create vertical carry problems and seam stress. When linebackers or safeties have to carry slot verticals, the defense is fragile, especially if the ball is thrown on time. 3 cornerback alignment. Proof the Rams did not win by hunting corners. Your cornerback alignment split shows limited catastrophic damage and modest expected value. That is the confirmation that Los Angeles did not choose to make this about Devin Witherspoon or Tariq Woolen. It chose to make it about linebacker/safety overlap, because that is where zone breaks. 4 free safety alignment. The final layer was late. The free safety alignment split shows free safeties as nearest defenders on meaningful completions with high passer ratings. That means the quarterback is delivering throws that force the deepest defender to drive late. In a zone defense, if the free safety is repeatedly nearest defender after the catch, the offense is beating the defense on timing. Part IV, why Seattle couldn't mirror Los Angeles' explosives. Seattle tried to run similar crossers and deep overs. Your diagrams and splits show why they didn't work. Linebackers stayed square, no displacement. Safeties were already layered, no hesitation. Pocket compressed unevenly, no hitch/reset. Quarterback waited late/flat. Route arrived in traffic, no shot. It wasn't that Seattle lacked the play call. It lacked the preconditions. 1. Credible run action that actually forces linebacker steps. 2. A quarterback who throws on anticipation. 3. Protection that prevents immediate interior collapse. 4. A defense whose safeties and linebackers are late to overlap. Los Angeles had all 4. Seattle intermittently had one. Part V. Rams defense. Winning without needing blitz or sack totals. Los Angeles defense didn't need to look exotic. It needed to compress the game and force Seattle into low-value football. 1 interior compression produced turnovers. The defining defensive play was the red zone interception by Kobe Turner, a defensive tackle. That is a classic symptom of interior compression. The quarterback can't step up, throws flatten, and defensive linemen become coverage players. 2. Seattle's offense was allowed to have harmless production. Seattle could produce running back checkdowns, some wide completions, and even a massive run. The Rams were happy to concede those if it meant no consistent intermediate leverage, no sustained scoring, and eventually turnovers. Part 0. Situational football. The game was won on 3rd down and in the red zone. Your down splits show why Los Angeles dictated the game. 3rd down. Los Angeles was a lead on 3rd down, high conversion and high efficiency. Seattle's 3rd downs were low yield and negative expected value. This is where structure cashes out. The Rams' early down sequencing created 3rd down leverage. Seattle's did not. Red zone. Los Angeles used red zone design to beat compression, tight end delay/leak, goal line leverage throws. Seattle entered the red zone and then died in the most predictable way, late. Flat throws into traffic, producing turnovers. Part the F. The turnover economy. Why this was never close late. Seattle's 3 turnovers weren't random. The goal line touchback fumble deleted a prime scoring drive. The red zone interception reflected structural failure. The second interception was the consequence of chasing points in compressed space. Los Angeles' 0 turnovers meant they never gave Seattle extra possessions. In a structure ver chaos game, turnover margin is everything. Seattle needed chaos plus free possessions. They got neither. Part the 8. Final synthesis. The game in 6 mechanisms. 1. Los Angeles attacked Seattle's linebacker and safety spine, not the corners. 2. Stafford threw on leverage and timing, not raw separation. 3. The run game functioned as geometry, not yardage, keeping play action credible. 4. The Rams' pass rush compressed rather than hunted, creating late and flat throws. 5. Rams coverage conceded low-impact completions and erased sustained explosives. 6. Turnovers ended it. Seattle gave away 3 possessions. Los Angeles gave away none. Why? This differed from the earlier Rams-Seahawks game. Week 11 can be true and Week 16 can be true at the same time. Seattle's defense did not become bad. Los Angeles found the solution set. Restore the first window in the intermediate middle, force linebacker hesitation, throw on time, and protect the quarterback just enough to let the concept breathe. If Seattle controls overlap timing and forces Stafford to hold the ball without a clean interior platform, they can replicate Week 11. If Stafford can throw intermediate windows quickly and repeatedly, Week 16 happens. Bottom line. Los Angeles won because it solved an elite zone defense at its most fragile point, the intermediate middle handoff between linebackers and safeties, and it did so with quick, anticipatory throws that turned zone coverage into late coverage. Seattle's offense could not mirror that because its quarterback and protection could not consistently create first window leverage. Once the game became structured, Los Angeles could manufacture explosives and finish drives. Seattle could only hope for isolated breaks. Bottom line. The Seahawks won this game in overtime, not because they controlled it structurally for 60 minutes, but because they survived long enough for variance to finally break in their favor. For most of the contest, Los Angeles dictated the geometry of the field, consistently stressing Seattle's linebackers and safeties with anticipatory intermediate throws, and forcing the defense to defend leverage rather than receivers. That structural advantage showed up in expected points added, third down efficiency, and sustained drive quality. However, structure alone does not guarantee victory when the margin stays narrow, and this game never fully escaped one-score territory. Seattle's overtime win came from execution in a compressed, low-snap environment, where the advantage of repeated leverage stress disappears, and individual plays carry outsized weight. In overtime, the Seahawks avoided the mistakes that defined their regulation drives. No hesitation throws, no red zone turnover, no interior collapse, and leaned into their simplest defensive answers. One clean drive was all that was required, and they finally delivered it. Defensively, Seattle did not fix the issues Los Angeles exploited earlier. Instead, overtime shortened the problem space. There were fewer snaps, fewer opportunities for the Rams to repeatedly attack the intermediate middle, and fewer chances for zone handoff errors to compound. In that context, Seattle's disciplined zone principles held just long enough, and a single stop was decisive. In other words, Los Angeles won the long game, but Seattle won the short one. The Rams consistently generated better leverage and higher expected value across regulation, but the Seahawks absorbed that pressure, limited the damage, and capitalized when the game condensed into a small number of high-leverage plays. Overtime rewarded resilience and situational execution rather than structural dominance. The final result does not invalidate the earlier analysis, it reframes it. Seattle's overtime victory shows that even when a defense is being stressed structurally, elite units can survive if they prevent separation on the scoreboard and force the outcome into a high-variance ending. Los Angeles demonstrated a repeatable offensive solution. Seattle demonstrated the ability to endure it, and in overtime, endurance was enough.